This is a controversial topic.
If I do this qualification, I'll instantly get more authority.
Be a coach that somebody wants to work with because of you.
Coaches are afraid to say what they really think.
In this video, we are going to talk to you about how lacking authority as a coach can lead to a worse business and what to do about it.
Hey guys, we're Dan and Mike from Business and Banter, formerly Biceps and Banter, and we're here today to help you with your online fitness business in any way that we can. And we're going to talk about being an authority today, or how to be an authority, or how not being an authority is costing you clients, probably costing you some long-term retention with your clients, and overall probably one of the things that's missing in a lot of online coaches that we speak to on a daily basis. So when we talk about authority, Mike, what do we mean?
Yeah, it's I guess it's difficult to put your finger on, right? But it's almost an element of respect that you can, that your clients trust in you to do the job, that they trust in you to help them navigate whatever sticky situations come up. And then on social media, it's that feeling that there's a presence there, that again, that there's a trust that if they come into your coaching, that they're going to get what they say that they're going to get. They know exactly what you stand for, your values, your beliefs, etc. And that you are a front runner as a coach within your genre. So it's difficult to kind of define the word, I guess, authority, and certainly a little bit difficult to be able to convey that within social media and your coaching. But hopefully over the next X amount of minutes for this video, we're going to show you all the reasons that we believe it's A, important, and B, how to do it and how we did it across time.
I think with coaches, the one way that they think that they're going to gain authority is by their qualifications. Like that's the old hat kind of like, oh, you know, you've been to uni, you talk about how you've been that, you've done all these qualifications, and kind of like the problem with that is a lot of your clients don't understand those qualifications and know why they're important, and really all you're doing there is trying to one up your peers, really, from that point of view. So that's what coaches think when we say authority. They go, oh, I'll do more qualifications, I'll do more of this, I'll do more learning, which, okay, yeah, to a certain degree, you do obviously need to know enough. But this goes beyond that. This goes around like there's an air of an almost like, it sounds a bit woohoo, but like an aura around you, and like that you are an authority, almost because you say you are, almost because you have the confidence in your message, you have the confidence in what you're saying, and that your opinions actually mean something and matter. But you can also back that up with results. And that's the bit that I think coaches kind of struggle with, isn't it? They just think, oh, if I do this qualification, I'll instantly get more authority. And it's kind of like, yeah, but people don't know what that is. They don't know what those qualifications mean, no matter how much you paid for them. So this goes far beyond that and goes into more of that, how you're turning up every single day. Again, shock horror, on social media usually. That's the fundamental part of this.
Yeah, I think this idea or this topic kind of came up where I've been looking at a few of my like longer term one-to-one clients, and kind of like we track all the data, sure, and we've been kind of tracking it, and I've noticed with a couple of them that lead generation, sign-ups, whatever you want to call it, is not necessarily the lacking factor. That's not necessarily the bottleneck, but there was an issue with retention for quite a large percentage of coaches, to be completely honest. So we did a talk in our members group, just £99 actually.
Link is below. Join that.
So check it out. And we worked out that our average retention with our fat loss clients is still at around like 2.5 basically a month. So 2 normal people and half a person before you. Can't say that these days. So that was based off the fact that me and Dan had X amount. So I'm just going to use me because I know the numbers, 100 clients, and now I'm down at 13 3 years later. So I've lost 87. That's 2.4 across the 36 months. So I've started to work that out with certain clients, and it seems to be a greater churn or a greater extent of churn than what me and Dan were having. So for example, right, if somebody is churning, let's make the maths easy, right? Let's just say that our churn is 2.5 per month. And let's just say we have client and their churn is 5 per month. That's not just twice as much as us, because I had 100 clients, let's just say, and the people that are churning 5 a month have got 20 clients. So it's not actually that they've got twice the amount of churn as us, because I've got 5 times the amount of clients that they have. So their churn is actually 10 times quicker right? It's 10 times quicker, because if you extrapolate that, right, if they're dropping 5 a month and you give them 100 clients, that same percentage ratio means that they're going to be dropping 25 a month, right? That's the same in terms of percentages. So we started to look at this, and it came down to the calculator. No, it came down to, I believe that it was a lack of authority, because I don't believe it's a lack of care, because the guys that I'm talking about actually do care, and they're doing things to try to improve retention, to try to improve their coaching, etc. Like, they actually do care. They're not, my gut instinct is that they're not lazy coaches, or they're not the type of coaches that me and Dan would dislike in terms of being quite slack. That they care. The knowledge of nutrition and training is pretty good. Obviously that will continue to improve over time, the more experience that they get and stuff like that. But for the amount of churn, I kind of started to think that maybe this is an authority thing, because what was happening, and this might be happening in your business, is that they were regularly getting clients that were just dropping off for numerous reasons. So I've got a wedding coming up, my mum's ill, I've had the car's broken down, I've had a breakup, whatever it is, right? These normal everyday things that unfortunately do happen. But at every given tough situation, people are just dropping off. And we did that call on retention a few weeks ago, and we kind of brought it up that, well, our clients had the same. Like, we didn't just find the 100 clients or 180 clients between us or whatever, right, that didn't have those situations come up. They did have those situations come up. But we always felt that our clients would lean on us more in those situations, that they would come to us knowing that they were going to get good advice, knowing that we had the authority to kind of go, right, look, here's what we're going to do, and here's why we're going to do it. Whether it is we're going to back off on this, stop doing this, here's what I would do with that. And they kind of respected the opinion, and I felt like they never ran away when they had a problem. Instead, they kind of ran to us. And what seems to be happening is, when any of our coaches, so our clients, their clients get into a bit of a tough situation, they're running away from the coach, because the coaching might feel like a hindrance, an additional stress on top of the lifestyle stress that's happening. And that has to be an authority thing. It's almost like the coach's clients are paying them for fat loss advice, and that's the extent of it. And that's what coaches are selling, and that's what coaches are doing within their every week check-ins, right? They're giving fat loss advice. Whereas how we built authority, in one way, because there's numerous other ways starting from social media, but in one way is just the care that we took within the rapport building with check-ins. The fact that we'd built up a bond with the client, but we still had the authority to call them out when needed. We still had the authority to instruct them, do this, do that, not ask them, not let them off with this, or not want to upset them and not say the right thing for fear of them leaving. Like, we had the position of authority where if we asked people to do something, 9 times out of 10, they would listen and they would go and do it. And it's the same now for our one-to-one clients. It's like, I had to say to them, because one rebuttal was, how do I build rapport then and still have that balance? I said, well, did we spend the first 5 or 10 minutes of this call talking about the football at the weekend? Yeah. I was like, and now when I ask you to go and do something, are you going to go and do it? Yeah. I was like, it's that, isn't it? I was like, that's what you're getting at. Whereas I don't think coaches are.
Yeah, and I think that the key sort of line, I suppose you could sum it up, was that our clients wanted to work with us. They didn't just want fat loss. And I feel like a lot of coaches, their clients are signed up because they just want fat loss. And they just go, oh yeah, I'll lose my 10 kilos and then kind of go. Whereas I feel like our clients would check in regardless, good week, bad week, indifferent week, didn't track all week, didn't do anything. They'd check in and go, this is why, this is where I'm at, this is how I'm feeling, this is what's going on. And it was like they wanted to work with us and have us on hand, rather than, yeah, the goals were important to them, I'm sure, but it wasn't like they came in just wanting to lose fat. I want to work with you. I want to work with you alongside everything else. And it's funny you say about the authority thing, because I do believe that, again, I've had times in the past where I look at some people that have come in, and I think this is why sometimes referrals are quite difficult to work with, because they haven't built up that authority. You're not viewed as the authority figure. It's just my mate recommended you. Same with friends and family. I think there's an element of, I've worked with, for example, one of my mates from uni, a little bit slack with checking in compared to my other clients. Like, there's probably because there's a little bit of a lack of authority. They kind of know that you're good at your job, but you are just their mate. You are just someone that they've known in that capacity. And I think when you start digging a bit deeper, you realize that that authority, that would make sense, wouldn't it? Why those people don't quite view you as that authority, because that's not how they've been introduced to you. Whereas a lot of people through social media introduce you as an authority because you say you are, because you've put yourself in that position. And I think that's a really, really important point to make, is that are your clients working with you, or are they just wanting fat loss? Because I think that's the key difference that I would say when I look at some of our clients is like, it's like even now with like a waiting list, is that the people that want to work with us, they want to work with us. Yeah, they want to build a business. They want to do that, but they're not going to do that just for the sake of it, because they can go work with someone else and get screwed over and get scammed and not grow their business, right? They want to work with us, and they're prepared to wait a little bit of time for that. And I think you want to almost create the same sense of feeling of, I'm not just a fat loss coach. I'm not just a muscle gain coach. I'm not just a CrossFit coach. I'm not just that. Is like, I am the best person for this, and I'm going to complement your life in loads of other ways alongside that. And coaches aren't showing that. They're not showing that side of what else they bring to someone's life. It is just literally the numbers, the macros, the training plan. And it comes down to how you're coaching that person, for one. I think that's the problem with some of the retention stuff you talked about. But I also think it's this with social media, is that coaches are afraid to say what they really think, and they're afraid to divide opinion. They're afraid to talk about subjects that aren't just fitness related. And that's why, when it comes down to it, people don't see you as an authority, because they don't want to work with someone who is just, like I say, a bean counter, macro calculator for them. They don't want that. They want someone who's on their wavelength, the way that they view the world to a certain degree, but also the way that they view their opinions, and the way that they're on side with them in a lot of the ways that they would go about doing things, how they would coach, how they would talk to people. And I think that's the bit that coaches miss out on. It is they just talk about fitness and then wonder why people just come in for the fitness, then leave once they've achieved their goal, and why ours maybe didn't.
Yeah. So like it all starts with social media, like as everything. So I think I wrote a line in the webinar where I was like, even if it is the client, it's still your fault, because you're in control to some degree of the type of client that comes through the door, and certainly the expectations of what's going to be asked of them, and the length of time that they're going to be coaching. So like we regularly get this where it's like, oh, they're just not a great client, they're just a bit flaky, and it's like, okay, like, I'm not going to discount that. One, every so often, yeah, signs up for the wrong reason, they kind of knee-jerk it, they make a rash decision, and they're not a good fit, right? But not as often as you think. Like, it shouldn't be as often as you think, especially if you're going around your lead generation in the way that we would advise, in terms of longer term kind of relationship building on Instagram through content and conversations. So it's like, so even if it is the client that's dropped off, that's, you know, come up with something that leads them to leave, it's still your fault. So how do we go about doing that? And it's, well, one, you should be walking the walk. And this is a controversial topic, which it shouldn't be. Like, it really shouldn't be, because I think that certain coaches that preach that you don't need to be in shape as a coach to be a good coach, we all know that. Like, me and Dan know that. Like, we know that if you're carrying an extra 15 pounds of body fat, it doesn't change your knowledge, it doesn't change your experience. Like, we know that, but it's a perception thing. It's okay, so if I've got two people with the same level of experience, but one of them is in shape and the other one isn't in shape, and that can be extrapolated across all genres. So it's not just about kind of being shredded. It's, one might be a performance goal. So if you've got, let's just say, somebody who coaches marathons, and one of them is running marathons and the other one isn't, the perception to people that are wanting help is that the person that is running marathons might know a little bit more, or might be a little bit more qualified than the person that isn't. Yeah. And that's CrossFit, marathons, jiu-jitsu, bodybuilding, it's doing photo shoots, it's been a powerlifter, strength athlete type thing. Whatever it is, right, it's walking the walk and demonstrating that you can do the things that you're going to be asking your current clients to do.
The one I always come back to is like, would Ollie Marchon have the brand he's got if he was 20 stone and wasn't training? Just no, like flat out no. Like, and you can bring up so many examples of it, and that's where I kind of go, I don't care what people say, look at the evidence. Just look at it. Like, and I think that tells you all you need to know. And on the social media stuff as well with authority, as well, the other thing that we didn't bring up on that call, and wish we had gone into more depth, but we didn't have time because we run out, because they're so in depth and so useful that we run out of time, is also with content, is that if you're just playing the game with following trends and following all the hacks and not really putting your opinions out there on social media, not going in depth, not doing many kind of videos where you're going into the nitty gritty of what you believe and what you talk about, people don't see you as an authority. Like the videos for me that drive authority on social media are never the ones that are going to get loads of reach. They're just not. Like, you don't see some of the big names just doing all these trends and focusing on them. You see them doing this, talking to the camera and saying, this is what I believe, this is what I think, or they write long captions. Like you get questions from clients all the time, oh, how can I boost my reach on this? And like, just be good at your job. Mm-hmm. Over time, it'll happen. Build an authority. And I think that's something that we've never done, is chase those trends of like what's trending on social media. You go and ask all these people that you view as an authority, they do not chase trends. They don't. Like, again, I look at Ollie, like I use Ollie Marchand as an example. When has Ollie Marchand ever gone for a period where he's put up a reel of some B-roll of him training with like writing on it and then saying, read the caption below? I've not seen his social media, right? I'm not big like follower of him, but I bet it's minimal, if non-existent. Now, again, the argument there is like, and you could throw a straw man and go, oh yeah, but he's at that level now. And I'm like, yeah, but I bet he didn't even do it before. I bet he's grown to this level because of that, because he's stuck to his values and he's posted the same things over time. And I think this is where, as an authority, when it comes to creating content, you have your style and your way of doing it. And people, in my opinion, like, don't chase trends. And I think that's where a lot of coaches are falling down as well, is that they are viewed as, I don't want to sound harsh here, but like Mickey Mouse coaches, because they are following the trends. They are just doing anything to get reach, anything to get views. And they think that having all those followers means that they're an authority, but it doesn't. We're looking at the data and we're looking at these people with all these followers and they can't get people buying from them. So are you an authority then? Or is it just a number that you associate success with that means nothing? And in fact, while Mike's talking through the next point, I'm going to actually look at Ollie Marchand's Instagram and I'm going to go through and see how much of it is like that. Because I bet you, if I look at it, it's all going to be exactly as we would say to coaches. It's opinionated, true to values, he's walking the walk, he's posting about himself, he's posting about his journey, and he's created a cult, you could say, of people that follow him through that and probably buy from him. And I think that's the bit that coaches aren't prepared to play the long game with it. They're not prepared to build up that over time. They just want to know, how can I reach more people in the next 30 days? Well, post about what you're doing and show people that you're walking the walk is a great way of doing it. Again, stuff that we used to do all the time.
So the next point then, so after you're walking the walk would be, Danny kind of brushed on it there, is be opinionated, right? Have the authority to formulate your own opinions, which coaches don't do. Instead, they have an opinion that is the same as every other coach because it's nice and safe. So we spoke about Eddie Abu being the flavour of the month, right? And you go, okay, just because you're a coach that's now slagging Eddie Abu off, right? That doesn't make you opinionated. That makes you the same as every other online coach. That's not an outlandish opinion. It's being a good coach or a good authoritative coach is about looking at the data, looking at the research, implementing what you can with your clients, building up a level of anecdotal evidence, and probably formulating your opinion around that and being okay talking about that. So again, we would kind of go to, back when we were kind of learning fitness, we would go to like webinar, seminars, events, we would study courses, etc. And we would pick out the bits that we liked, I guess, that we thought to be true, and then the bits that we would probably dispute. We had the courage to formulate our own opinion and not just take everything as verbatim. So again, there's a trend, everybody knows it on Instagram. You make a post about aspartame or sweeteners or whatever, right? And you're going to go viral on it. That's not being opinionated. That's just being the same as every other coach, right? So building authority comes from you actually having your own unique opinion, thought process when it comes to nutrition, training, supplementation, mindset, style stuff, and being okay saying it, being okay pissing off somebody, being okay being relatively abrasive, being okay because you can back it up. So that's going to build authority.
Yeah, literally, I'm going back here on his post, and like I'm back into June 2022, and there's just not a single trend that's been chased. It's just him lifting, his life, his kid, going to weddings, eating out with friends. Like and this is back when he arguably wasn't as big as he is now. I think he's got nearly 500,000 followers now, right?
Is he not waving around 5 pounds of fat?
Yeah, funny enough, wasn't. No. There's just a lot of pictures of him looking in incredible shape.
Yeah. Walking the walk.
Walking the walk, training, working hard.
Being aspirational.
Yeah, talking to the camera, doing podcasts like this. This is more recent and going back all that way. It's just him like...
It's too difficult to do that though.
Yeah, like all he's doing is documenting his life. And I know people will argue and they'll say like, oh yeah, but he's got his own gym to train at. And I just think it's just excuses.
It is excuses.
Because I remember seeing him, because I remember someone mentioning to me ages ago, and it was back in like 2021, I think. And he had this is 2021, same content. He had about 20,000 followers at that point. It wasn't like he was like he is now. But my point is that people look at him now and go, what's he doing now? And I'm like, well, because he was doing it 4 years ago and he was posting the same stuff. Again, I implore you to go on his page. I'm on it now and it looks exactly the same now. Look at that, right? In terms of a look. I don't know if you guys can see it on the camera. We'll zoom in. I'll get Harry to zoom in. Exactly the same there. And if I go, that's 2021. I go all the way back up now, all the way to the top, and you couldn't really see that much difference in terms of what's being posted and the theme and the brand that's been built.
Justin's the same.
Justin's the same. Justin Canusi, exactly the same. Someone I've known, coached me before I left to come into Dubai again 3 years ago. Just stuck with the way he wanted to do it. He loves video editing. He loves his YouTube. He loves his family. Yep. You get a vibe of who he is and what he's like. He now works with Lululemon, brand ambassador, because he's got his own style. He's got his own way of doing things. He's got his own video style. And his opinions and the way the world should be or fitness should be done in this day and age. And like, I don't see any coaches doing it. I just don't see them with that authority. And you could argue, am I going to go out on a limb? If we'd have carried on in the vein that we were going for 3 to 5 years longer, would we have been somewhere similar? Who knows? Like, I'd like to think our YouTube would have grown bigger. We'd have been more on it. We'd have probably been more advanced with that. We just pivoted slightly in terms of what we were doing. But we had a style and we had a way of doing things that people could resonate with, and they knew that that's what we were like. And I just don't see coaches. They just, again, they're copying other coaches, looking at all these trends, looking at all these hacks. And I'm like, they are two people that are great examples of, they wouldn't be where they are if they didn't walk the walk and share that. But they're also where they are because they did it. Do you know, like, it's like...
Do you know who else? TM Cycles.
TM Cycles. And another one, like, we didn't agree with some of the stuff that he used to say, but we always used to say, even at the time, going, it's good at what he does. Good at what he does.
If you look at what he's done, for those that know him and those that don't, go check his page out, is that if you rewind the clock back, say 3 or 4 years, he was like heavily into the bodybuilding scene and spoke as an authority in terms of supplementation, nutrition, training around kind of bodybuilding. And he's completely pivoted, right? And he's now more of a hybrid style, I guess, trainer. I think he's doing maybe some competitions, but again, because he walks the walk, because he does it, because he trains like it, and he shows it, and he documents it, and he says he is, he's now an authority. And I wouldn't be surprised if the clients that he signs up now are coming to him for advice on cycling, fucking swimming, running,
different type of cycling.
Different type of cycling. The name works.
But the other thing as well is, I bet he's lost a lot of followers that used to follow him 6-7 years ago. But again, coaches will panic about that. He's pivoted like we have with our audience, and you go, well, I don't care if someone who wanted fat loss unfollows me now. I don't care. That's a good thing, isn't it? But again, coaches are so bothered about that number and who's following them. I'm like, no, let's just make sure they're the right type of people. And he probably now doesn't want bodybuilders following him. He only wants bodybuilders who are interested in the next stage of their life, where they're going to go into hybrid and care about their health a little bit more, because that's what he's big into now. He's gone completely the other way. But he's always been someone we've said as an example of going, like, this is how you do it. This is how you build a personal brand and how you build that authority, because he has that authority with the people that like him. There's numerous examples that we can use. Again, I come back to the guy that I like on social media, Tom Trotter. Found him recently, good example of the same thing. Like, does it, running marathons, doing all this stuff. He's going to get people sign up with him who want to be fitter and healthier because he's showing them what he's doing. And that authority takes time to build up. It's not going to happen in 1 week, in 1 month. But again, I come back to Eddie Abu's the same. You can harp on about whether he's right or wrong, but the way he says it and the way he believes it and the way that he puts his message across, and then the results that he shows in people who've adopted that lifestyle, I kind of sit there and go, you have no right to have a go at him, because he's doing better than you from an authority piece. And like, yeah, we can sit there and go, well, is he an authority though? And I go, well, yeah, he is, because people are reaching out to him for help. And it's all well and good just calling him out, but it's like, he's got results on his page, people that change their lives. You haven't. Do that bit first, then you can start calling it out a little bit more, because that's where we were able to do that. Again, we talk about TM Cycles, right? But this is where we were able to go, you don't need to do any of that shit, because we got people in shape But if we hadn't got that and we weren't walking the walk ourselves, we couldn't have said it. Wouldn't have said it. Can't say it at all now, but neither here nor there. But like it's not something that's going to happen in the short term. It's not a hack. It's not something you can do that's instantly going to change your business. But in the next 2 years, you can create that for yourself. You can build it, and that's the thing that's lacking within a lot of coaches' social media is that I don't want to say that. Yeah, they're just too nice. They're just too nice. It's too positive. It's too airy-fairy. It's too, it'll be all right. It's too, don't worry about it. It's not that hard. Does Ollie March make it look hard? Yeah, because it fucking is hard. Do these people talk about it being hard work? Yeah. And I think coaches are too quick to try and get people in through the door by telling them it's going to be easy. Don't have to cut out the foods. Don't have to worry about it. Should be sustainable and all this crap. And I'm like, yeah, but where are the results to prove that this works? Because, tell you what, when we did it, we were like, these are the results. You have to fucking work hard for it. You have to train. You can't go out all the time. You have to make sacrifices. And that's what people in authority do a lot of the time. But I don't see many coaches talking about that.
If you're preaching that you can get in shape without giving up the foods that you love, right? Don't what client is going to come in? Expect to get somebody who is wanting to come in, who wants to get in shape without giving up the foods that they love, right? So you have no right to moan when they're not being adherent, right? That they're not doing anything.
Yep.
Because you've told them that they don't have to give up the foods that they love. And you know that that's a lie. What you're really saying is that I'm not going to stick you on a meal plan, and that there's certain ways that we can go around making sure that you're staying on track while still being able to eat out, socialise, etc., right? Because I'm going to be probably tighter in the week. But you're not telling people that, are you? You're just making it sound like anybody can get in shape without giving up the foods that they love. So then you are attracting the flakier people. If you're saying, look, you don't need to be sticking to your meal plan. If your ex-coach give you a meal plan that is so super restrictive that you couldn't stick to it, that's probably not the best approach for you. If you're the type of person that does like to socialise, that goes out on a weekend, we can make that work for you. Because you can. But it's incorrect to say without giving up the foods that you love, because nobody can eat pizza every day and get in shape. It's a complete lie. Right?
I tried that, it didn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I had egg white omelette this morning.
And it comes from doing the same for yourself, right? If you're the type of coach that likes to socialise on a weekend, like I was, right? I'd enjoy a beer on a weekend, but it meant that Monday to Friday, I didn't deviate. Like, Dan would come round to my flat or whatever, and he'd be like, "There's nothing in the cupboard." Yeah, there is nothing in the cupboard, because there's nothing in the cupboard, because if there was, I would be eating it, and there isn't. So, do you know what? I am going to stick to my egg white omelette. I am going to have a chicken salad. I am going to do all of the things that I would do on a diet, because I'd like to socialise on a weekend. And I showed it. I showed that. So what came through the door? People that probably did like to socialise at the weekend, but knew that Monday to Friday they're probably going to be on it a little bit more. That I weren't asking them to do something that I wasn't already doing myself.
Yeah, they weren't shocked when they said, "Oh, do you know what? I'm going to have an egg white omelette for breakfast," because you used to show it all day, every day on Instagram, YouTube. We used to talk about this stuff all the time. Again, shared it, walking the walk, not just with training, but with the lifestyle. He shared that enjoying the drinks at the weekend, but then he was back on it on Monday, doing those things that need to be done, doing the steps. Again, not enough coaches are doing it. I think it's boring. I think no one cares. Well, go and look at those people we just mentioned. Look at their brands. Look at what they've built. Again, they're not following trends. They're not waving around 5 pounds of fat. They're not doing basic bitch content. They're sharing what they're doing, and they're saying it with passion, and they give a shit, and you know what they stand for. So go and look at those people. I think that'd be a good idea for you to kind of look at how they've stuck to their principles throughout, and try and find yours.
I think, to sum it up, it's like, be a coach that somebody wants to work with because of you, because of your authority, because of the stuff that you're saying. Not a coach that somebody works with because you've made it sound easy. And that's what coaches are trying to do. They're trying to make it sound as easy as possible, because it might get them more leads. And maybe that's what they're being told in other mentorships or whatever, that to say this, it makes it sound appealing. Stop it. Stop chasing that and build it in the right way, and you'll get a better quality client if that's what you're after, and you'll get them stay longer, and you'll get them see the longer term, and you'll get them viewing you as an authority that do turn to you when the times get tough, like ours did. So just jump off the trends, get off the trends, and become your own person, become your own coach, your own values, thoughts, opinions, walk the walk. Get on with it, right? Stop looking what other coaches are doing. So if you like this video,
make sure you hit like it,
subscribe.
Yeah. Too late doing it, and they've all turned off.
That's it. That was a long one.
We'll see you in a bit.
Fucking 35 minutes.
Too long.
Too long, baby.